And following events in Tudun Biri community in Kaduna State, where more than 80 persons were sent to their early graves in an air bombing by the army on Sunday, residents say they are still in shock as more deaths have been recorded, with many others sustaining injuries. The figure is according to NEMA. And shortly after the unfortunate incident, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, apologized for the error. On Thursday, Vice President Kashim Shettima led a high-level government delegation to Barayo Dikko Teaching Hospital to condole with the victims. He assured them that the federal government will conduct a thorough investigation and hold accountable anyone found responsible for the tragic event. The Vice President also conveyed President Bola Tinubu's deep concern over the unfortunate attack, stressing the need for robust measures to prevent similar occurrences in the future. Now, in this next slides, we will bring you updates on some of the air bombings that happened in the past, which claimed the lives of innocent Nigerians across the country. For more on this development, let's bring in the Executive Director, Global Peace and Life Rescue Initiative, Melvin Ajay. He joins us via Zoom. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, TVC, and good afternoon, Nigeria.
Let me say that you're joining us from Jos Plateau State. This particular issue has raised a lot of reaction. Nigerians are in shock. Although this is not the first time, the army has apologized, the federal government has sent delegation there. But I want to ask you what you make of what happened and what is the reality of things.
Let me first and foremost condole with the families of those that lost their lives and the government and people of Kaduna State. I want to describe it as a total accident that can happen anywhere in the world. Accident happen anywhere in the world, especially operational accident that is associated with fighting terrorism and war. This is one of it, and it's nothing new. We must say very clearly that our army have done a lot and are still doing a lot. This is not enough to demoralize them. I'm actually very worried that some senior citizens are calling for the sack of service chiefs. They should resign, crucify them. They have forgotten all the sacrifice the army are doing for our sake, the armed forces are doing for our sake to keep us safe in this country. I do not think and believe that the armed forces will deliberately go to that village and go and kill persons in their cold blood. That is not possible. If you observe from the look of things, there are a lot of findings we cannot actually bring to the Nigerian public so that not to raise nerves. Terrorists were in that community, terrorists infiltrated that community, and the army were in the hot pursuit of these terrorists. I think that's what happened. It's not like the army deliberately went to Tudun Biri and killed a lot of Nigerians. That is not true. Let me also commend the president for the swift response in sending the vice president and a high-powered delegation to that community. That is a sure way to go. And the army also impressed me. The service chiefs also impressed me. They moved there immediately. What happened if they have denied? What we used to have before is that they would have denied and they wouldn't even accept responsibility. So I think our army, our armed forces have moved from what they used to be. We must commend them. We should not demoralize them. They are winning this war against these bandits, and all they need is our support.
Whilst you're saying, we cannot condemn them because this is not a deliberate act, but we also know that lives have been changed forever by this particular incident. People have lost their loved ones. People have lost their property. People are struggling for their lives in the hospital. We know that the army has said, look, they are going to make compensation. They are giving compensation, to the families, monetary compensation. But what more can be done to ameliorate the plight of these people? Because nothing can be done to bring back those who have died, but at least the situation can be ameliorated.
I think to the best of my knowledge, you have answered this question. Nothing can be done to bring back this life. It's one of those collateral damages that happen anywhere in the world once you are fighting such asymmetric warfare. I think for me, what should be done is that they should be more precise in their intelligence. They should be more careful. They should go back to the drawing board and find out what really went wrong with this information. On this incident, nothing can be done. Yes, compensation should be paid, property should be replaced, and government should cater for the bill of the injured one, which they are already doing. They move in immediately. If you listen to the MD of the hospital that these victims are, he said government started taking responsibility immediately. There's nothing anybody can do. Life has been lost, and it's not planned. It wasn't deliberate. It wasn't deliberate. This government is very responsible. The government has acted responsibly enough. We must all take it as an act of God that nobody can avoid. For me, one of my major pain is that people are attributing this thing to the service, to the chief of defense staff, that he was killing these people because they are not his ethnic group. These are highly irresponsible statements. I think Nigeria should not make a statement at this point in time. Nigerians should come together and fight this war. This is our war. It's not the armed forces war. It is our war. We must come together and fight this war to end this banditry.
And you talk about, the fact that lives cannot, and which again I also mentioned earlier, that lives cannot be brought back. But, we have to talk about this particular community. Things have changed for them. And, I really want us to focus on them. This is now more about them. The error, you have called it an error has been made. And I really want to insist on, talking about what should be done for this community. And I also want you to speak about something you already started talking about, the fact that people are saying, look, this is not an error, there is a religious angle to this. How can government, step in to ensure that, criminal elements and, funny characters do not take advantage of a situation like this?
Yeah, I agree with. If you observe the statement of One Ariwa Action Group for Good Governance, it's actually very responsible for them to begin to attribute this national disaster to the act of the chief of defense staff. It's actually very irresponsible and very reckless of them. Now, the community, just like you mentioned, life has changed for them. Government is already moving. The government of Asiwaju and the service chief are responsible enough. They are taking maps in that community as to what they can bring as the immediate support to this community. A lot is being done already in that community, as you are aware, because the government moved there. For the vice president to have gone there, for the minister to have gone there, for all the service chiefs to have gone there within 3 days, it shows that government is committed. The life of the people definitely will change because government will focus more on them. And the community also must try as much as possible to begin to expose terrorists. They must begin to expose funny characters that infiltrate them, because you cannot avoid such a collateral damage in asymmetric warfare. If you observe the statement if you listen to the statement of Chief of Army Staff, the army were in pursuit of these terrorists. And these same people that are killed were moving like they were moving in terrorist likes, and they went under a tree, and that's why the drone picked them. These drones are not human beings, even though they are manned by human beings. They are controlled by human beings. They are bound to make mistakes. So our community must begin to deliberately expose criminals, and we should call on our stakeholders not to politicize everything. This is an issue of national security. They shouldn't bring the chief of defense staff.
We'll continue to see how this particular issue develops. Thank you so much for talking to us. The Executive Director, Global Peace and Life Rescue Initiative, Melvin Ajay. Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Welcome.